freedom over me. Hey, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Before I be anybody's slave, I'd rather be buried anywhere, somewhere in my grave. Then I'm going home to live with God. Hey, oh, freedom, freedom, freedom all over me. Yeah, oh, freedom, freedom over me. I'll tell you, before I'll be anybody's slave, I'd rather be buried anywhere, I don't care, in my grave. Then I'm going home to live with God. Yeah. Freedom all over me. I tell you, before I be anybody's slave, I'd rather be buried anywhere, I don't care, in my grave. Then I'm going home to live with God.
That is Miss Naomi Wilson. Give her some appreciation. And thank you all for being here tonight. I asked Miss Naomi to begin with that song because the theme of many of the pieces you're going to see tonight is freedom. The pieces were written by formerly incarcerated men and women, and they're about the ongoing search for freedom that men and women behind bars have in common with everybody else in the world, even if they've never been in a physical prison. That search for spiritual freedom is important, and the search for spiritual freedom is the central heart of Dante's Divine Comedy, which is the frame we're using tonight for those stories. So those stories will kind of take you on Dante's journey from Inferno to Purgatory to heaven. And when Dante finally gets out of hell and starts the long climb up Purgatory Mountain, he's with his guide Virgil, who explains what the whole purpose of his journey was. He says he's searching for freedom. Libertà va cercando. And whenever you see the students lift up the book like that, that's because they're quoting Dante. And they will be quoting Dante because his journey parallels the journey of so many men and women in prison who are fighting their way out of their own hells and making their way towards something better, the way Dante was. And Dante, of course, was somebody who knew what that was like because he was somebody who'd been convicted of crimes. And he wrote the poem while he was in exile from his family, away from his family. And that's something men and women in prison have experience with, so they can identify with. So when this is the 8th year that we've been presenting this work. 2 years, the last 2 years we were online on Zoom, so we're really happy to be back in person. And we're also really happy that 2 of the men who took this Dante course with my Yale students in prison 4 years ago are actually here in person. They've been released, so congratulations. So you'll hear from them later on, and we celebrate their freedom, and we celebrate the freedom also of a formerly incarcerated man who was in prison with them, although he didn't get to take the Dante course, but he's here now at Yale as a fellow at the Yale Prison Educational Initiative. So we celebrate his freedom. And he's also here with his brother, who's going to present some of the rap songs that he wrote in response to his brother's incarceration. The way he processed that grief of dealing with his brother's incarceration was to write songs, and you're going to hear those songs tonight. And it's important for us to hear the voices also of the family members of people who are in prison, because that's an important dimension that people don't think about. Prison not only impacts the people who are in prison, but all the people that they know and all their loved ones and all their families. One of the mothers of one of the men who's here tonight has told us often she's been really an important part of the evolution of this class. When her son was in prison, she came to the performances here at Yale, and when her son couldn't come anymore, she came in his place. She's, really a dedicated family member, and she's one of the reasons that her son is home and doing well. So I want to just recognize Miss Nancy Fredericks. She's been with us many years, and she's taught the students from Yale a lot by her presence, and we really appreciate her. It's great that she could be here tonight. And understanding the impact that prison has on family members is important, and it's an important part of educating the public about the impact that the prison system has on all of us. Because just as it's important to bring education into prisons the way the Yale Prison Education Initiative does, that our performer is part of, and that Zelda Rowland directs here at Yale, it's also important to educate the people who aren't in prison, because they need to know what the system is really all about. And prison is kind of hidden away. We don't really know what goes on there, and this program is part of letting you have an insight into what goes on first person from people who really have experienced it. And 2 of our special guest artists have devoted their time, so much of their time in their careers since leaving prison, to educating the public through music. BL Shirelle, great rap poet, and Naomi Wilson, who you heard sing, BL you'll hear in a little while. They've produced music written and performed by formerly and currently incarcerated men and women in their record company, Die Jim Crow Records, which is a fantastic organization. And they also go back into the prisons and help men and women in prison understand themselves through music. It's the healing power of music which helped them survive when they were behind bars, is something that they want to help others with. So they're extraordinary people, and we're really lucky to have them with us tonight. And they're going to be participating with everyone else in a post-performance discussion. So the show is about an hour. We hope we stay afterwards to give them some feedback and ask them questions. They're really interesting people that have a lot of wisdom to offer. And before we start, though, I want to thank all the people who helped make this possible. This is presented by the Institute for Sacred Music, and the staff there is just amazing and wonderfully supportive, and we couldn't do it without them. So people like the director, Martin Jean, the assistant director, Eben Graves, Ray Vogel, Sasha and Ramabhadran, so many, Amanda Patrick, so many people that you don't see here on the stage behind the scenes have really worked a lot with a great generosity to make this happen. And I feel really honored to have been part of this community for so many years and to be able to present this to you tonight. So I ask you to show appreciation to all those people from ISM that you can't see with your applause, and your applause will begin the performance.
So what does it matter if I think I'm intelligent, if nobody knows that I'm intelligent, or nobody else thinks I'm intelligent? If the world thinks you're me and you're not me, does the perception matter more than the truth? If that's what the world thinks of you? These are the words of BL Shirelle. BL was incarcerated for the first time when she was 18 years old. Between two prison terms, BL spent 10 years of her life in prison, and much of this experience before, during, and after has been of being treated like less than the person she is, as a number or an animal, not a person. The beginning of BL's first time in prison recalls Dante's entrance into the gates of hell, over which are carved the words, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." The dehumanization that BL experienced through incarceration began before she even entered, as you'll hear in her story. And we'll see that the suffering that Dante describes in Hell's Inferno is not otherworldly. It's happening in this world right now to 2 million people in US state and federal prisons who have stories just like BL's. For BL, hell was not confined behind a gate in the afterlife. She found it as a teenager in a district holding cell. When she tells this story, BL speaks in a matter-of-fact, almost numb tone of voice. Maybe there is no other way to confront an experience like this one when it's your own. Tonight, Allie will be speaking BL's words as BL told them to us. We hope you will hear in this monologue both the numbness and the horror, as we all respond together to a sharp image of hell from BL's life.
When I was arrested the first time with the police shooting, I think that was probably the most animal that I felt. Cries and wails, a confusion of tongues toiled in pain, the sound of blows. When the shooting happened, they handcuffed me. They dragged me out. They started stomping me and beating me with nightsticks. There was a lot of glass on the ground. So when they dragged me out and they started stomping me and beating me, my body was getting pierced with all this glass. That was the thing. That's the main thing that I remember. Like with every punch, with every kick, with every stick hit, it's the glass, that friction against my skin. When they took me to the hospital, they didn't remove any of the bullets. They just threw me, took me to the district, put me in a cell. They took all my clothes. Cells are freezing cold in the district. It might be 50 degrees in there, but it feels much colder. And this is a holding cell. It doesn't have a bed, a pillow. I'm in there with nothing on but a hospital gown. I'm freezing for 12 days. I ended up wrapping myself in toilet paper to warm my body up. And they give you cheese sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I stacked the cheese sandwiches up so I could lay my head on the bench. I stacked the cheese sandwiches up so I could lay my head on the bench. And, I'm watching everybody come in and leave and come in and leave. And it was this lady who was an addict. And she was in bad shape. She smelled so bad. But she gave me her jacket. That was the first person that gave me something. I had her jacket for the next 2 days, but by the time I got to the county, I had lost 10 pounds in like a week. My bullet holes were infected, so when I went to bed, when I laid down, I would wake up and blood and pus, all kinds of stuff coming out of all these. And I had a concussion. I didn't remember anything. I was literally like an animal. That was the worst experience I ever experienced. And I've never been as relieved as I was the day they finally took me to jail.
If you permit the question, I must ask it. Are the eyes of clear justice turned aside?
I think that the eyes of justice are looking clear as day, dead at us. I think that this system works exactly the way it's supposed to. This is how it's supposed to work. We're trying to change something from its intended purpose. The prison system, it's not something that just went out of control. It's something that from the beginning, this is what it was. That's all it is. It's anonymous, it's confidential. I'm still not a name. I'm not a face to this, right? I'm just a number. I'm just literally a number. Prison is similar. You're just a number. It doesn't matter all those personal details that go into why you became this person, this number. It's just a number. So, yeah, this shit is a well-oiled machine.
This is a safe place, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Take y'all back to Woodstock. It's my first block that I lived on. I have to rewind the times before the rhymes. I have to rewind them crimes. They locked me for that dime. I have to rewind before the first time I sold the mime. I have to rewind my mind the times I don't want reminded. Rewind to 99, we was 11, 12, stuffing them 12, 12s. We shared a tray 8, we had like 12 shells. Juvenile cells jail, praying for snail mail, but I won't talk about it. My broken heart and open scar, feel like you whipping broke a jaw. Dropping ice on your stove, trying to see if something mold. Trying to see them oils whole, lost your dreams and all your goals in a Pyrex you stole from Lowe's. Y'all know the feeling? My self-esteem was kinda low. I had a demon in my soul that sank his teeth and made a hole without a feeling. But I won't talk about it. My heart got chalk around it, yeah. That's when I thought about it, yeah. It's just some shit I gotta say, yeah. Shit I carry every day, yeah. It's just some shit that's on my heart, yeah. Where the fuck am I gonna start? Well, these weirdo hitters is bitches, I give them morning sickness. The more they sitting, the more I'm shifting, they more the difference. Some hitters getting your business, some hitters getting their feelings. I just get to the witness, the snitch and co-defendant. Seen brothers fake their religion, hitting Christians, and when they eating that chi-chi, they envisioning chitlins. Ain't gonna get more specific. Go west and I hit the Pacific. I hope these fucking illiterate hitters know the difference. Wait, I'm a victim of recidivism. I only be civilized in the prison systems. Yeah, religious stigma keep a sinner's vision. Skin stigma's a bigger division. It can't be mended, it's cemented and demented. My window's tinted and my skin is, which one is it? When you violate my rights and my amendments, them same rights was never given to begin with. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. Clinicians can't provide prescription for this sickness. But I'm addicted to the digits, they addicted to syringes. Common sense, we must conduct a business. Yeah. Just some shit I gotta say, yeah. Shit I carry every day. My man mom died while he was at child time. Baby mom miscarried while he was at commissary. It's kinda scary cause it's Sally's a drag who dresses in women fashion Medea. They call her Tyler Perry. I could barely get fresh with that designer rarely. Till I did that math like hold up that one I gotta carry. Till I gripped that gat like hold up that gun I gotta carry. Cause hitters wanna spill my blood in my prime carry. Spoiled milk, reminiscing on that rotten dairy. In this game it's one and done. We play for Kyler Perry. Draft picks from the body of that belly bottom beast. But when it's extra hollow in your belly, gotta eat. And when they plot and stop them, you can't let them bottom feed. Even if I gotta fight in them Rockies, Apollo Creed. Spent countless nights in the county without a blink. But I ain't gotta sleep, motherfucker, I got the dream, yeah. And it's just shit I gotta say. It's just shit I gotta say. Shit I carry every day. Shit I carry every day, yeah. There's some shit that's on my heart, it's just some shit that's on my heart. Damn, where the fuck am I gonna start?
If there are 2.3 million people in prison and just 0.5%, that's half of 1%, are innocent, that's 11,500 people serving time in jail for something they didn't do. According to the Innocence Project, the conservative estimate for wrongful convictions is 1%. That's 11,500 more people. That's 23,000 people serving time in jail for something they did not do. Robert Day, or Culture, is part of that estimate. He is a man who did 10 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, only being recently released. In prison, he suffered major heart issues that led him to suffering from heart attacks and dying 8 times. Again, he died 8 times. And yet, he sustains that dying was what drew him to growth and humility. By his words, I see me coming out with my heart issues as a scrape and bruise. He is a poet and a drummer, using his new life to fight against the system which held him captive, and to bring awareness to what life is like on the inside as an innocent person. He says, honestly, I wish I could say I improved when I went in there. I was already improved when I went in there. That's the most hurtful thing about being innocent. In Dante's text, specifically Canto 3, we find Dante at that famous gate of hell. It leaves Dante turning to his guide Virgil in horror. Why are these souls suffering through such cruelty? What kind of justice is this? Virgil replies, as the gate suggests on a surface glance, that these people deserve to be there. And yet, as Dante goes through this journey in hell, he encounters so many people who were there for reasons he doesn't always agree with, whether they were simply born in the wrong era, loved the wrong person, or believed in the wrong thing. He encounters good people who are forced to live in eternal horror, abandoning all hope and enduring eternally. One could say those words on that gate became an opposition to what Dante and our own culture find through their journeys. Hope must never be abandoned. The system, whether the US justice system or the inferno Dante experiences, cannot be seen as justice. Perhaps this is what the gates truly prescribe when they say,
"Through me the way into the suffering city. Through me the way to the eternal pain.
Through me the way that runs among the lost. Justice urged on my high creator.
My maker was my divine authority, the highest wisdom and the primal love.
For me nothing but eternal things were made, and I endure eternally.
lasciate ogni speranza, voi che entrate."
See, that heaven, that purgatory, that hell is real. Some people's hell is worse than others, but my hell, that was real hell. My hell. I never want to experience that again. I died 8 times in prison. My heart literally stopped. Literally stopped. The first thing I felt was the evil spirit. Y'all know that spirit. The spirit of death. And it was like death told me,
I got you.
and my soul left my body. I started getting closer and closer to the gray. And then a voice came to me and said,
Who do you choose?
and after this was said, a memory of terror then bathed me in sweat again.
A whirlwind burst out of the tear-drenched earth, a wind that crackled with a blood-red light.
A light that overcame all of my senses like a man whose sleep has said, I fell. When you're on the road and you hear sirens, what do? You pull over to the right. At this point, it could be the police, it could be a fire truck, or it could be an ambulance. We never think we know who's in the back seat of a police cruiser, or what fire the truck is going to put out, or who's in the back of the ambulance fighting for their life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was that man in the back of the ambulance fighting for my life. My heart stopped from the stress of being convicted to 30 years for a crime I did not commit.
Abandon all hope, you who enter here.
See, this is my story, not hidden allegory. So please understand why they all adore me. Because I strive to improve. But this system is designed for me to lose. If not prestigious, rich, or connected, we are held captive and abused. How loud must I scream? How many conversations must be heard before my soul leave? Go back to the essence and to the unseen. When will the devil experience while the process of elevating our human being? I can get spiritual, but let me synopsis your mind so that you can see retrieving my liberty is a must. Why? I ask y'all, all of y'all, why must the innocent be in prison and the guilty allow freedom to manipulate the system? What happened to law? A contaminated design of justice. Does it matter that I die 8 times to come back and scream my innocence? (2/26, 2018). My soul took a trip and astral projected to the unknown, where there's no white light, but darkness with a whole lot of colors in it. Lost but not forgotten. Now I'm stuck in between purgatory and the present. It's inhumane that those in power are so vain that they don't care the degree of infliction or empath the pain. So we are pounds of flesh, exterminated just the same.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Every voice, lift every voice and sing. Heaven ring, you know it, sing it. Harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, listening skies. Oh yeah, rolling seas. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
As I sat there, my heart was filled with something. As I walked into this building, I started to think. As I walked into this room, I started to feel. But when I came in and sat down next to those two guys, I started to realize. And I realized how blessed I am. And I realized that we gave people a round of applause, but we did not give God one. So I would ask that you do so right now. I was incarcerated with these two brothers. The last time we seen each other was in a prison, and look where God has us right now. Well, now that we got that out the way, I'll introduce myself. Good evening. I'm Marcus Terrell Harvey. But to the Connecticut Department of Corrections, I'm simply 403-853. I'm going to tell you about a sacred space within a wretched place, about an oasis of hope located in a land where man is forced to flee destiny and embrace demise, about a place within the inferno where individuals transgress the command to abandon all hope and cling to dreams of a better day in the here and now. About a small room where big men laid down big burdens and left sins and shame at the feet of the Savior. A room that was consecrated for quiet, yet joyful noises permeated throughout the atmosphere and reverberated within its four walls. In this room, tears were shed, fears were fled from, souls were cleansed, and victories were won in fights long fought. In Matthew 6:6, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ made a promise to every person humble enough to heed him and bold enough to believe him. He said, "But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to the Father which is in secret, and thy Father which is in secret shall reward thee openly." I'm here to tell you that that quiet room was my prayer closet. Because I prayed in this room within a maximum security prison, I'm now studying in classrooms on the campus of one of this country's most prestigious colleges. It's ironic because I grew up in New Haven, but I did not get into Yale until I went to jail.
This is the matter of Marcus's song. In Dante's Paradise, Dante finds himself within the heaven that receives more of God's light. He saw things beyond his wildest imagination, and he proclaimed that as much as he could, that holy kingdom would be the matter of his song. Hear the song of Marcus Harvin. This matters to him. That room that he's talking about, it was inside a prison where just outside people were arguing and fighting. Yet that room, it birthed healings, freedoms, dreams becoming reality. And even as he sings now, that room is still bringing people together, forming this oasis of hope. Pew Research states that in 2011, 78% of prison chaplains said that they consider support from religious groups to be absolutely critical to the inmate's successful rehabilitation and re-entry into society. Marcus sings of this quiet room not just because it paved a way for his transformation and his mission, it brought him here to Yale. Along with his brother, Bugatti 203, you're going to hear the words of Marcus coming out of my mouth. At his request, I will speak his words, his lyrics, as we sing the song of him going from the quiet room to the classroom. And we start this story with Bugatti 203.
Pain was a record I wrote on an hour-long ride home from my brother's sentencing. It was a lot of emotions. I put them all down on the notes. When I got home, I went to the studio. I had to give my brother's side of the story as the news tried to paint him as the monster. I wanted to tell the untold story. This is Pain. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. I need to talk to him. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. I see a lot of sun, but all I feel is rain. I got a lot of joy, but all I feel is pain. So, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Voices above saying calm down. You losing sight of your dreams, don't get blind now. Ain't no light in my life, I put them blinds down. Plus I'm staying strong for my fam, this is my time now. You know, the news quick to bring the bad off the past. Can't discredit my bro, he been a super dad. It's sad that lives almost lost in the crash. And to make it worse, he had his 2 daughters in the back seat. He always been a good pops to his kids. And everybody know Marcus knows just what it is. It ain't fair. A forecast, I had to clear the air. Cause now it's 4 states of what you read and what you hear. Under the devil's spell, a light drinking problem. Me and my mom was right there trying to help him solve. I'm riding for you, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'ma tell the world about what my brother going through. Clap for me, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. I need to talk to him. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. I see a lot of sun, but all I feel is rain. I got a lot of joy, but all I feel is pain. So, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. I'll speak the truth. You among the living retell it. It really began in that small room. People, family members that had been prayed for,
healings have taken place afterward because of prayers in that room. People have been freed from prison. A lot of things have happened. But it all started in there. In that space where the light or the glory supposedly doesn't shine. Great fire can follow a small spark. And I realized that these things took place because revival took place, right? And revival by definition is a rededication to God. And we as a society, we don't see these people as people. We see them as a charge, we see them as a crime, we see them as a sentence. Yet God still sees them as people. So the light, the sun, will continue to shine from the prison. My mind discerned this truth, made plain to me by him who demonstrates to me that the first love of the eternal beings is their maker.
In this room, I became a pastor and shed the shameful title of prisoner. This place that was used for push-ups and haircuts became a house of prayer and a residence for repentance. In this room, denominational differences were discarded as a result of the commonality of calamity. Muslims, Jews, and atheists alike convened with me to hear me speak about my Messiah's ability to put an end to their adversity. On New Year's Eve one year, myself and a host of my peers held hands and brought in the new year with a prayer. Before that moment, some of those men hadn't prayed since they were pre-teens. Because the King of Kings reigns supreme. I'm gonna repeat that for you. Because the King of Kings reigns supreme. I don't think you heard me that time. I got you one more time. Because the King of Kings reigns supreme. The rain ceased, and the light of the Lord shined upon us unjust individuals. Broken hearts were healed by the Almighty Mender. When we came together in this space, within this place where we were sent to be separated from solace. You'll now hear another song from the artist formerly known as Dante, my little brother Bugatti 203. It's ironic that I just spoke about solace, but there were many mornings, afternoons, and evenings wherein I felt like breaking down. As I sat in that cell, serving that unjust sentence, my Savior and my family became sources of solace for my soul and my sanity. I channeled my pain through prayer, while my brother was channeling his through his pen.
Breakdown, a record I wrote after multiple conversations with my brother. We had a petition going on at that time, and we was trying to get people to understand his story and see what was going on. The best way I could do it was put it through the music, because I had a big fan base. I have a big fan base. And when we was talking, he was telling me, you gotta tap into that when you was in that courtroom, and I had to go through all of those emotions again and again and again. And here's a breakdown. I gotta go closer to my mom for this one.
This one of the ones. Got my kinfolk on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey,
Mom,
I just
wanna
want
pray
to
you proud. Grandma, I want to pray you proud. Listen.
Listen.
Look, my mama dropped tears in that courtroom, and I couldn't help the tears when that judge gave her oldest son more than years for a non-violent crime. He caught more than a dime, and that's after suspension. Really wanna know the time? They gave him 23, like the back of a Jordan jersey. Daughter's back at the act in the road, it was kinda curvy, you know. He ain't shoot nobody, and he ain't sell no drugs. And then they wonder why we never trust the government, cause that shit is stupid. God on his side, when he got sentenced, he just trooped it, just to put him in McDougal. Thought he would've crumbled, he was raised around wolves, so he good in that jungle, yeah. Otherwise they could've made him learn his lesson for the time he caught. Would've thought he had a murder weapon, yeah. They never gonna wanna see you win when you brown. Picture mails from his daughters when he look at it. Sometimes he break down, yeah. Sometimes I break down. Yeah, sometimes I break down. Sometimes I break down. Yeah. Sometimes I break down.
The glory of the one who moves all things permeates the universe in one part more and in another less. The funniest thing is, my ID opens the same doors as yours does. And just a few months ago, I couldn't even get out of a door without showing an ID. Think about that. Just think about that. I grew up on West Ivy Street. Now, I'm at an Ivy League university. As an inmate, I became an Ivy League student. I'm a fellow at Yale University. I don't think you hear me. I'm a fellow at Yale University. A fellow at Yale Law School. Certified through the Yale School of Medicine. Gainfully employed on many, many fronts. And I'm about to start my public ministry. And this all happened in 5 months. Could you imagine in 5 years? And the best part about it is that choir room, it's still going on. I still lead it in there from out here. So the light is still going to shine. That sun is still going to shine. And life is literally what you make of it. I don't think you heard me. Life is literally what you make of it. You know, I have a Yale email. I have a net ID. MTH49. I'm there. I'm there. 403-853. That was my inmate number. Now it's MTH49. That's how full circle life goes. That's how full circle life goes.
If the truth in its rawest form knocked on the door of your conscience, would you welcome it? Are you able to put down your shame and its dysfunctional blues so your conscience may receive this nourishing soul food? Well, Vernal Davis, also known as Preach, is the raw truth. And he had to do what I just asked of you.
His story began well before prison and continues after prison. However, it was while in prison Mr. Davis learned a painful yet vital truth. His conscience wasn't breathing, it was murdered. He realized if my conscience was alive, a lot of them things I wouldn't have done. Now, to clarify, he does not share this for your pity, nor for your moans. He shares this to be nourishment, a warning for your soul. Because like you, Mr. Davis was raised right. He knew right from wrong, and yet somehow his consciousness still died by way of murder, assassination. And it took him going to prison to just see what was going on. Now, the United States makes up 5% of the world's population, yet has 25% of its prisoners. How does this happen? Well, Mr. Davis warns us through his experience that it's much easier than one may realize to become a member of that 5% if your conscience isn't living. It was while participating in the offered Dante's Divine Comedy course that Mr. Davis's consciousness was revived. He not only served as a vessel of restoration for himself, but also others, one who was in this very room, and you will have already heard from him. Vernon Davis gives us a hope and a knowing that a deceased conscience is never, ever detached from the possibility of resurrection. As we move into Vernon Davis's presentation, you will hear a dialogue between Dante and his ancestral guide in paradise from Dante's Divine Comedy. It concerns our call to truth and the impact it has on ensuring that the light always remains in you. Light and truth, that is what we say at Yale. So lux et veritas.
I have learned much that if I relate it, to many will bring a most bitter taste. But if I am a timid friend to the truth, I fear I will be forgotten by those who will call this time ancient.
A conscience dark with its own or another's shame will indeed feel your words to be harsh. But nonetheless, putting aside every falsehood, make manifest all your vision, and let them still scratch where the itch is. For if your voice will be painful at the first taste, it will leave vital nourishment later when it's digested. Somebody save me, have mercy on me.
I'll be that truth dropper, bobblehead on your dashboard head bopper, the black Dr. Phil when I give you learn truth, but it's only proper. Me, be a timid friend of the truth, I'm the past and the proof for the old and the youth. Never forget your past, because you never know when it's going to come and look for you. Tonight, I'm going to give you my testimony, but I'll never testify. And my storyline, lost love, drugs, death, and prison beds, believe me when I tell you this, I do not glorify. And the words that's going to come out of my mouth is real, no lie.
Somebody save me, have mercy on me.
Who killed my conscience is the question that I continue to ask. No one knows who did it or the exact moment it happened, but it happened. It been declared dead. Now I'm scrambling for answers, searching for clues, reading all kinds of books, and doing every program available, and looking at CBTV news. Who killed my conscience? See, I'm tired of this constant seesaw between worship and resentment. Life is just one disagreement. I was locked up for 12 years in prison, that jungle made of concrete and steel, where I questioned my identity and all how I feel and how I felt. 2 nickels short of a dime. Can you imagine changing your concept of what you call time? Let me say that again. Can you imagine changing your concept of what you call time, viewing it as a punishment for committing a crime?
Somebody save me, have mercy on me.
Foolish personal behaviors. I used to embrace hostility. The death of my conscience is my humility. But now my conscience is killing me. I make no excuses. I'm guilty by nature. Living in hell is my ability. Many times in that cell, I just used to sit back and think, how I get behind bars with never pouring a drink. See, I thought I was the shit. But don't shit stink? Yeah. From freedom to prison in one quick blink.
Somebody save me, have mercy on me.
Who killed my conscience? Was it my kid's mother who left me because I was always coming in at 5 in the morning instead of getting up at 5 in the morning? Or was it that other girl that cheated, tried to play with my mind? Was I really that blind? Never mind, because if she cheated, she was never mine. Or was it my so-called homies that consciously I knew was phony? See, I mentally fed dudes, and they still turned their back on me. So I had to dead dudes. I guess by me looking out, I misled dudes. Damn, guess my vision was blurry. I misread dudes.
Somebody save me, have mercy on me.
I'm sorry, y'all, I don't mean to bother y'all, but last night, I heard a teardrop fall. See, I have waged many fights, some admirable and some unnecessary, against enemies that was real and imaginary, but I still got the right to know who killed my conscience. Was it my school teachers? Who never said verbally, I'll be nothing. But it was the way they treated me that told me I'll be nothing. Come on, y'all, help me figure this out. Who killed my conscience? Was it the death of my oldest 10 years old daughter, or the drugs in my system, or that prison bed and being shipped out of state, locked up with gorillas, doing push-ups in the cell and in the yard lifting weights? Can you imagine living like this? Can you imagine living like this? Seeing your other 2 kids grow up through pictures and the rest of your family you miss? Was it the places I was playing, where I was staying? It's because my mother couldn't deal with me. I love you, Mom. My father never built with me.
Somebody save me.
Many times
have
looking in that
mercy
mirror.
on me.
Many times looking in that mirror, I don't like the reflection staring back. So much sorrow, regret, and hard-driven guilt around, built on stuff that I built. I say this with sincerity. Who killed my conscience? Is it because I had no choice and I'm black and we have no voice? Was it God? Because I be questioning, do he really love my people? Because it's not hard to see that we're not equal. So many emotional pains, physical drains. I swear my head is spinning. I'm drowning in my thoughts and they too deep to swim in. And situations never change. Only people winning. Sympathy and hatred. Still to this day, I wonder if I'm going to make it. Walls built up on self-pity, anger, and deception. I told y'all last night I heard a teardrop fall. It was insecurity with a low self-esteem conception.
Somebody save me.
My imperfections have conditioned
Have
me.
mercy on me.
I know I have a lot of work to do, and I strive to be more consciously aware. And I may never win an award or be able to make amends for the havoc that all my imperfections have caused. But today I share my flaws. And the last sound that echoes in the darkness in my ears is who killed my conscience? Or better yet, who killed your conscience and your conscience? Who killed our conscience? Well, you know what? That's the sound a prison cell makes when it's filling up with tears. Talk to him, Miles.
Be not dismayed.
Talk to him.
For whatever, whatever betide, 'cause God will take care of you, 'cause beneath his wings, love abides. God will take care of Vernon. God will take care. He will take care every day and in every way. He will take care of you. God will take care of me.
You heard of BL's hell. Now you will hear her story of what it means to be free and to dream again outside of prison walls. In Dante's Paradise, as he climbs out of hell and purgatory, he writes of the constant newness that he finds in heaven. He says, "By now you see the height, you see the breadth of the eternal goodness. It has made so many mirrors which divide its light." We will hear about this newness experienced by BL. Specifically, we will hear about her dreams of creating spaces for artists and musicians who are prison impacted. An analysis from the Prison Policy Initiative shows that formerly incarcerated people are unemployed at a rate of over 27%. Which is higher than the total U.S. unemployment rate during any historical period, including the Great Depression. For those who are Black or Hispanic, especially women, status as formerly incarcerated reduces their employment chances even more. This perpetual labor market punishment creates a counterproductive system of release and poverty, which hurts everyone involved. Employers, taxpayers, and certainly formerly incarcerated people who are looking to break the cycle. But like the mirrors in paradise that reflect heavenly light, BL is working to reflect the gifts and the stories of people who are pushed to the margins of our communities. In doing so, she is finding her own paradise. This is BL's story in her own words.
I want to know if in your eyes one can amend for unkept vows. There's a lot of people who counted me out. I was in prison placement, and the fact was I wasn't making the right decisions. So it got to a point where people kind of chalked me up to be what I was. They probably thought I'd end up there, so why keep investing time and love and energy into someone who keeps making the wrong decisions? When their life's decisions become your burden because now you have to constantly write to them, constantly send them money, and they're never around. And you're growing up, and you're having children, and they don't know your kids because they're never around. Incarceration impacts your life so much. I lost the majority of my childhood friends. I lost 10 years. I gave you guys a 10-year head start. And here we are. I'm finally able to 100% do what I love, which is make music and assist others in making music who are prison impacted. There's a lot of privileged people who still don't get to do what they love. You know what I mean? This is the ultimate privilege. You might make $1 million, but you're busting your ass at something you don't really care about, or you wouldn't do it for free. In my case, this is something I would do for free. So the fact that I get to do it and get paid to do it, it's a dream come true. Not even a dream come true, because it was too far away to even imagine. I never envisioned being in a position where I get to do what comes natural to me, that God gave me just naturally, and being able to make a living doing it, it's kind of surreal. And so my career, it's growing and growing, and it's not something I ever suspected, and it's not something I always feel ready for. But I'm doing it. So I'm just taking it day by day. But I will say that something I still struggle with is weighing my bad and my good. And I don't know how it weighs out on the scale yet, which is why I try so hard to be good. Our time is short, and I don't want to suffer. But there aren't too many days when I don't think about something that I've done in the past. And so I want to know if in your eyes, one can amend for unkept vows. Because I'm counting my good, and I'm trying to weigh it against what I've done in the past. I'm trying to pour into society as much as I've drained, essentially. I'm just trying to tip the scale. And my confidence is growing as time goes on. But it's a process. So how does it feel? Well, my friend, like a month ago or like 2 months ago, my friend, we were locked up together. We went to middle school together, and then we did all of our time together. She said,
Mo, what you're doing is amazing.
She said,
you know what?
She said,
we needed a you when we was locked up.
And I thought about it, and I was like, that's it. We needed a you when we was locked up. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is so important. This is paradise.
I want to step to the altar. I originally wrote this song out of spiritual discomfort, not sure where I belonged, maybe too much information, maybe not enough. And I just want to share it with you guys. Ever get sad from being happy? Like, I did all this for Gramps, she in the afterlife. And the sacrifices she made, it took half her life. Y'all say she looking down, she hardly had her sight. I feel my faith has lost its appetite, 'cause I done served the deacon and the pastor's wife. I used to know them verses, front to back and back to right, until I read that Bible, printed in its black and white, and it's cracker type. My spirit don't have a sanctuary. It roams 'cause what is home, but God knows it's gold. It shows straight through my soul, and he chose me. Now get along to me. Fat dyke with a beard, so you notice me. I got a limp from some bullets caught below my knees. Triple D's, who the fuck you know as bold as me? But I'm supposed to be exactly how he molded me. Yeah. Only way will I know. I won't know until I go. And if I go before you go, I'm high and some memories die, but some shit stuck with me like a minute ain't even went by, and ain't no changing the cycle. They slayed disciples in pages of the Bible. I used to pray to a Christ who wasn't doing nothing, cause the only time I prayed was when I wanted something. Got caught dumping, now I got caught coming. But Lord, please forgive me for all my shortcomings. Give me credit for being forthcoming. Not saying it's no paradise, just no one knows what it's really like. Praising Christ or Allah, Jehovah, whoever I like, don't make me right. So if I praise my God until I go numb and die, and then I find out it was the wrong one, am I condemned because I was speaking with the wrong tongue? I'm just translating the lyrics to the song sung. Only way will I know. I won't know until I go. And if I go before you go, I promise try to let you know. Like I'm spiritually homeless. Swear my spirit be wrong. Where my spirit be gone. Where my spirit be gone. So I'm gonna sing the Lord's Prayer. If you guys can sing it with me, I would appreciate it. I'm gonna do it the first time by myself, so y'all can catch the melody, okay? And now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should not be fall, I wait. I pray the Lord my soul. And now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should not be fall, I wait. I pray the Lord my soul. And now I lay me down. I pray the Lord my soul. If I should not be fall, I pray the Lord my soul. Amen.
What's it like to experience hell? Think about it, really. We've heard a lot of stories tonight about experiences of hell on earth. And yet it's almost impossible to communicate what these experiences really are like. It goes beyond our words. Such is the case with so many of life's most intense experiences and emotions. At grief so deep, the tongue must wag in vain. The language of our sense and memory lacks the vocabulary of such pain. Dante recognized the limits of language when trying to articulate the journey from hell to heaven, and yet he insists on doing so anyway, through storytelling. Our beautiful Miss Naomi is another storyteller who insists on sharing her journey out of the hell of the U.S. prison system. And believe me, she's been through hell. 37 years in prison. Yeah, it's disgraceful. And yet, I get to share a little bit of Ms. Naomi's story, and you'll see that hope and love burst out of her, even in the face of overwhelming circumstances. She wants you to know the hope that she carries. So how do we communicate the most overwhelming experiences of life? Pain, abandonment, loss, injustice, the longing for heaven? How do we communicate the language beyond words? We sing.
Nobody knows the troubles I've seen Nobody knows my sorrow. No, none of you know the trouble I've seen. Glory, hallelujah.
I lost both my parents while I was on the inside. Coming home was bittersweet. It was excellent to come home. But then I thought about my parents. You know, how much they loved me. They were married for 50 years. They loved each other. And all they wanted to see before they died was me come home. And they never got to see me come home. And because I don't know anything about death, I don't know if they know or not if I'm home, that I'm doing well, even in my circumstances. That plays in my head a lot. Do they know that I made it? Do they know I'm no longer a drug addict, that I'm no longer an alcoholic? Do they know all these things about me that they pushed so hard for me to do? I hope they know. I don't know if they know. But I still have hope. You know what I mean? Even through this process that I'm going through, the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. They say it's, you know, that I'm treatable. It may be. Things work different for different people, and I'm aware of that. But you got to keep that hope alive, and that's all I can do. I think that you would never appreciate heaven if you didn't go through hell. We don't appreciate good things until we lose them. You never miss your water until your well runs dry, you know? So a lot of times when we experience the ugly, we don't appreciate the beauty. When we don't experience the ugly, we don't appreciate the beauty because we don't know the difference. To appreciate the good, we must endure some bad. See, heaven is just this beautiful place that no one can describe because the beauty is beyond words. You know, I've always just believed that, and I still believe that. That view hasn't changed. I believe that heaven is just this beautiful, you can't even describe it. It's the love that moves the sun and stars. Nobody knows the trouble Ms. Naomi has seen. None of you know her sorrows. Nobody knows the trouble any of us have seen, but Jesus.
Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, 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 hallelujah.
thank you all so much. Thank you all so much, and thank you, you wonderful presenters. You know, it really was, great experience to work with you and to see this as the culmination of all that hard work. And as I said, we invite you to stay with us and give them your comments, ask them your questions. And first, I'll ask them to say each of them to say a few words to you about the experience of getting to this room. I don't know if you want to sit on the steps or sit on, get a bench, make yourself comfortable. First, I'll ask the men who've worked the longest on this project, this ongoing Dante prison project, Robert Day, also known as Culture, and Vernal Davis. Vernal Davis, also known as Preach, because people really paid attention when he spoke in the prison. And so could you start us off talking a little bit about the difference of working on this Dante project when you were inside, and now that you get to work in person with us here, or in Zoom until you came here? Oh, yes, take a microphone.
Yeah, it was real because in prison we were censored with everything we had to do. We couldn't say certain things, constantly being locked down. This was healing for me. Once I started doing Dante, I left prison. So I was in prison physically, but no longer mentally. It was real because I was able to speak my truth. Like I say, I'm a nudist because I bear my truth. And Dante's real. And as you see, I'm home now, I think about 6 months, and I'm still doing it. And any chance I could do it, I'm going to do it. Appreciate you, Professor.
So,
use the microphone.
No, they can hear me.
No, but then you won't be on the recording if you don't use the microphone.
All right, I got you. You can hear me now? One, two. Sure. Oh, she said yes. So, I really died, and I died 8 times. But the first time I died, I was in a coma. So I was in a coma. They told my pops I wasn't gonna come out. They didn't know how I was gonna come out or whatever. So the long story short is when I came out of the coma, I was no longer allowed to live in population. I had to live in the infirmary, which was new to me because I thought I was the healthiest dude in the prison. I was working out. I thought, you couldn't tell me nothing. Now I'm living in the infirmary, and they said I'm sick. And then you get this guy right here. When you're in prison, there's one thing you just don't do to a man is wake him up out of his sleep, because that's the only way we can escape was dreaming. When I dreamed, that was my reality. When I woke up, that was a dream. That was my hell. You know what I'm saying? So this guy would come into my room and kick my bed and be like, we're going to Dante's. We're going to go to Dante. And I just be like, man, if you don't get out of my room, man, leave me alone. He's like, I don't care, big bro. We're going to do this. And if it wasn't for Preach, y'all would have never met me. And then I got a chance to meet Professor Jenkins. I call him Dr. Jenkins because he's so educated. And when I got a chance to meet him and the students, that right there gave me a reason to pursue, because they told me I was going to die. They said, you're not going to make it in 2019. Get your affairs in order. You're going to die before 2019. He's a witness. He was there. And then I came back and I was broke. Imagine a doctor telling you you're going to die in 6 months and you won't see the end of the year. So when I met Dr. Jenkins in the Dante's Inferno, and that changed my life. That gave me it gave me a new generator to move forward, to want to be successful. And I appreciate you. Thank you, Doc.
Well, we appreciate you. But the part that you didn't say was how many people you changed by the amazing wisdom you shared with all the students when you were here this year, but the students that you met inside, they remember. They remember.
It was definitely an experience. It's crazy because one more thing, when we performed in front of the prison, you got all these gangsters, like you were saying, everybody, all they do is push-ups, everybody want to be the toughest, and we performed that play, and you would have never known all these tough guys came together, and it was like, oh, I want to do it next time. Oh my goodness, because you get gang members that everybody want to hurt each other in prison. Figure a way to hurt somebody. And it saddened me because the bishop stopped him from coming, which means we couldn't do it the following year. And there was so many other brothers that never come out. They're too gangster to, sit in a play or do a play. And Dante's Inferno, it was so many other brothers that wanted to participate, but we got shut down. But a good thing, it's a bad thing it happened, but right after that, I was released. If it wasn't for COVID, I'm still fighting. I got the Innocent Project representing me, and I'm still fighting to be exonerated, fighting for my freedom. I got a lot of time still over my head, and I just appreciate all of y'all. The students, y'all gave me the energy. Y'all the new minds of the new generation. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the powerful minds that's gonna create this world, and I appreciate y'all for taking the time out.
Okay, thank you. Marcus, yeah.
And y'all don't know, look, and Marcus was here with me in service, because when I came out the hospital, I'm not into the church, jail, prison, church, because everybody in church and prison, they ain't there for God. You know what I'm saying? They ain't there for the Most High. But this brother right here, we used to build a lot, and I forgot until he was in the class when I came on the Zoom meeting, and he was like, we used to talk. I'm like, yeah, I don't. Then I went back to my room, and I slayed down. I was like, oh, Marcus. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So it was a good thing, because when I left the hospital, I went right into the church, and it was these brothers that received me, and I appreciate you for that. You know what I'm saying? With all my heart.
All right, well, I didn't prepare anything, and it's a tough act to follow. Ego's a little deflated that he forgot who I was, but thank God. But I just want to, all jokes aside, challenge you to see something real quick. You see these two beautiful women here. You see these two great men right here. And you see myself, right? These are the faces of people behind those walls. And the thing that we must do as a society is stop labeling people as predators, stop labeling them as convicts or criminals, and see them, if they are guilty of what they had been accused of as just a person who simply made a mistake. We're in a chapel right now. Romans 3:23 says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Understand that if you got caught for the worst thing you've done, you would have been wearing the same color we did, sleeping the same way we slept, eating the way we ate. But look where God has us now. So by the grace of God, we're here. And we're here to stay and to make history.
Let your brother say a few words, if he wants to, about the what you've done with the music.
My brother was a big part of my career. I did some amazing things while he was during the trial. Everything was going on. There was some amazing things going on. And one of my biggest dreams was to get on Sway in the Morning. And he told me, you just got to keep going, just got to keep going. I'm like, nah, I'm sick of emailing this dude. He's like, you better email him again. He's gonna eventually pick you. So every single day, because my brother, I emailed him at 8:30 in the morning, 11:30 in the morning, 2 p.m. for 5 months straight. And when I got there, he couldn't believe it. He said, oh, Bugatti, right? We've been waiting for you. I picked you last year, but I just want to see how long you was gonna go. That's what he told me. And when I got selected to go up there, it was, a month after he just got incarcerated. I know if my brother was right there with me, I would have got that big label deal. I was gonna sign a record deal because we had a chance to get him out. I was gonna sign a record deal. And I was in Atlanta, and I told my brother, I'm signing with these people. He was like, don't do it. Don't sign just because of me. I'm gonna be okay. God got me. He said, you keep going until you get the right situation for yourself. So even in the midst of what he was going through, he's still thinking about me and thinking about my future and my well-being. And I'm happy that he's here now and able to help me go to the next level, because we got so many levels that we can go to above and beyond. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Miss Naomi, anything? Oh, you have the mic there? Okay. Yes. Well, do you have anything you'd like to say about
Well,
working?
I just want to say
Ms.
that.
Naomi, especially about listening to your words spoken by the students.
Well, I'm just really grateful to be here. I love these kids. I really do. It's just a blessing to work with them. They're our tomorrows. So that is why it is important that they do know about the criminal justice system, really, and know how important it is to go out and vote. You know what I mean? Do some research on people that you're putting in office, you know, because we just don't know. You know, like the brother was saying, you know, people do make mistakes, and it could very well be you. That's why when I'm in the streets and people ask me for $1 or whatever, I don't care what you want it for, but it makes me sleep good at night. I'm gonna give you that $1 or that $2, you know, because I say, Lord, that could be me. You know, my life is like an open book. I love the professor. The professor, I'm just so glad that he introduced me to these children because it's so much that they need to know, and I like to tell them the truth. And especially now, I really do. I'm just going to make it short. I knew that he shouldn't have gave me this mic. No, really, last month I was diagnosed with cancer. So I haven't had any treatment yet. I'm still going to the doctors. So I have breast cancer and lung cancer. And then I took some tests last week and they said that my kidney levels were high and they couldn't do what they needed to do for that. So I was like, Lord, I'm just falling apart. But, you know, I just give God all the glory. I'm going to stay positive. You know, I'm just going to let God just have his way with me. You know, so that's why, you know, when I was singing that song, nobody knows, oh boy, nobody knows the trouble that, you know, that I've seen and that I see. And when you were hearing, you know, Jetson, you know, talk about my life, you know, I was a drug addict years ago. I was an alcoholic years ago. And I stayed in prison 37 years. I've been home for 3 years now. So, you know, God, thank you. God has blessed me. When I came home, the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, I'm from Philadelphia, the Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, he hired me. So he's in the Senate now. But, you know, I'm a commutation specialist, so I help others that are doing long-term sentences and life sentences fill out their applications, talk to the parents, you know, give them that hope that they need. And, you know, God just put me in the right place because I love people. And, you know, I love to encourage people, and I know what it's like to be on the inside and to not have family members or those so-called friends to keep in touch. So I love what I do. So, you know, God has blessed me. And I'm not going to keep on talking because I'm telling you, I can go on. I really can. I can go on and on. But I'm grateful for this opportunity. And I was thinking about Carol Burnett. I'm so glad we had this time together. And I really am just glad that we were able to have this time together. And prayerfully, that we will be back in March?
Absolutely, yes. So I should say that. Tell your friends to come and see Naomi and BL. We're doing a play about the story of their lives in rap and gospel at the beginning of March. So
God willing, I will see you in March.
What was the question again? I don't forget.
What was it like to listen to the students speak your words all semester long?
No, she's trying to
stab it makes me feel very humbled, very honored, very hopeful for the future, that people are engaged enough to hear the experiences of incarcerated people's stories. No one of us has the same story. And I think that that's what people don't realize about people who are incarcerated. It's like they just assume things about people, but every story is different. I can't make a general statement for anybody. And, you know, for me personally, I guess I carry the weight of a lot of responsibility on me because of what I've been through with the police shooting. That's a very lonely experience. There's not many people that you can talk to that can relate or that have been through that because they're all dead. And that, it makes me feel like, it just gives me like this huge sense of responsibility that I don't know what to do with all the time. So this is an honor. This makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing in the space that I'm supposed to be existing. And that is very much so what I've needed for a very long time in my life. So thank you.
Thank you, BL. So I do want to give you a chance to comment and
Oh
ask
wait, I'm sorry,
questions.
real quick. I got chorus, guys. If you guys can scan, I'm going to give them to you. Sign up for the email list, please. If you enjoyed our music tonight, thank you.
So I do want to open it up to the floor, but also give the students a chance to say a few quick words about their. Anybody have anything they want to say about working with them? Okay, they want to hear from you. They want to hear from you. But the first person that I want to hear from in the audience is Miss Nancy. Would you say?
I am not a speaker. I don't even like coming up here, but he always put me on the spot. I have been through this program many times with my son, but I have to be honest. When I woke up this morning, my first thought was, what is this program all about? Is it really worth it? Is it helping anybody? You know what it's about? It's about decision making. It's about choices. It's about these excellent students helping ex-inmates to realize that they can do it. It's about these students showing these inmates through acting out their lives how they ended up in prison. They did this through acting out their lives. It helped the inmates to know that, no, we can't change our past. We can't do it. None of us can. So what they were taught was to turn the page and keep on moving. Let it go. They were taught to let it go, and then when they decided to make the right choices, they were even helped to do that. They were helped to make the right choices. They thought about it, what they wanted to do with their lives, what they wanted to be when they came out of that prison. And he called him doctor, I call him doctor too. Professor Jenkins and his group was right there to help them. And my son is living proof. When he came home from prison, he's working. He's working in a place where you would have never allowed a prisoner to walk through those doors. That was through your reference letter. So, yes, this helps. It helps them all to make the decisions, and they don't never have to look back. And we can always remember that sometimes all of these good people make poor choices, as we all do, as we all do. But if they keep on walking and they keep on doing the right things, they don't ever have to worry about going back to that prison cell again. They are no longer the numbers that they had in prison. And Professor Jenkins, thank you. I really, really want to say I hope nothing but the best for you and your program. But the one other thing I'd like to say, it would be so much better if you can connect with juveniles. And maybe then they won't end up in prison. Thank you.
We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from any of you? Microphone right there.
Oh. Nobody. So my question is, how does your program incorporate into the prisons for the inmates to get involved with the services that you provide to them?
Well, before there was the pandemic, since the pandemic, we haven't gone inside. It's been more difficult to go inside. But before that, when I worked with Robert and Vernal inside, I just went to the administration of the prison and asked permission to come in. And some prisons say yes, and some prisons say no. So you have to find the person in the prison who's willing to take on the responsibility of bringing in outsiders. It's a lot of work for them. Some people who work in prisons would rather not be bothered, but some people really care, and they helped us come in. As Robert said, or Vernal said, we worked for several years in McDougall-Walker, got to work with them, but then a new regime came in and they said, no, you can't come anymore. So it really depends on finding the right person to let you in. So, and we're hoping to go back inside next year. Yes.
Yeah, if you could, it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you. Thank you for the courage. And since I'm my church piano player and songwriter, so it was great just to see you. But my question is, I don't have a grasp for the size of the program, you teach a class in prisons about Dante and it's transformational, and the prison system itself is an industrial complex that's hurtful and doesn't do what it ought to do, which is to help people who made bad choices reform and become better. That's what you're doing. But how big is the program? Are there 3 students? Are there 500 students? I have no concept.
I teach this also at Wesleyan University, and sometimes I go into prisons myself in Italy, Indonesia, sing different places without students. So it's just wherever anybody will let me in, I'll come in myself, or I'll bring maybe 5 to 10 students, because you really can't bring a big group inside. Yeah. And then we work for a semester and create a performance at the end. So it's really, it's not an institution or an organization. It's just me and whoever I get to.
So you just do this every semester or every year that you can?
Yeah, for about 12 years I've been doing it.
About 12 years?
8 years here at Yale.
Wonderful. Thank you for that work.
Yes. Well, I work in theater. That's my profession, and I just by accident got locked up in prison in South Africa during the apartheid era when I was doing research on protest theater, and then I became part of the protest and became part of the people who got arrested for protesting. And then inside the prison cell, I had the experience of being locked up with 100 guys who wouldn't stop singing. It was this awful prison, really infamous prison, where they would hang people out the window when they interrogated them by their toes until they got the answers that they wanted. I had driven by it before, and people told me awful stories. I never expected to be inside, but to counteract the horror of being in that prison, the men just wouldn't stop singing. They were singing the freedom songs, the protest songs, the national anthem of South Africa, almost singing the country into existence that they wanted to be. And you felt the power of that. It was right when Nelson Mandela had been let out of prison, and you felt something was going to change, and you sensed it more powerfully in that prison when you listened to those men sing than you sensed it anywhere else. So that was my first taste of the power of music in prison, the power of the arts to transform something awful into something better.
Professor is a returned citizen, basically.
That's right, I am. Proud.
Hi, I want to thank you for a beautiful performance. I was moved several times tonight. One of the really cool things about this project, I think, is its intent on destigmatizing what the prisoner looks like. And something that was really evident to me tonight was the aspect of labor, specifically the labor of hope that it takes to really overcome certain circumstances. Does that resonate with these students? And if so, would you mind speaking on that a little more?
There's a scripture, it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So I think it was, I believe, for me, I could speak, it was faith. I prayed. I mean, you gotta imagine, I've been guilty my whole life, and this is the first time I ever been innocent of anything. And I got sentenced to 30 years. I went into the police department, and never walked out. Went to trial. You're supposed to go to trial when you're innocent. Got sentenced to 30 years. So every brother in there was like, man, you in a fresh 30. You need to get out that mindset. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? The system don't play that. They corrupt, and there's nothing you could do about it. And it was me praying every day. And a nurse, I got nurses come see me every week, and one of the nurses said to me, she said, you must be highly favored with God for him to stop your heart right before a pandemic. Because if it wasn't for the pandemic, y'all would have never met me. I would have never met you again, Professor Jenkins, Dr. Jenkins, because I would have still been stuck in there. So I believe that there is hope. I won't take that from nobody. You got to have some type of hope, but it goes deeper than hope. You have to have faith, and you got to believe when you pray. You can't just pray and say, you can't get on your knees and pray and ask God. You got to believe in God, but you got to have faith that when you get up, and faith that it's done right there. A lot of people pray and they continuing to keep praying over and over. That's not faith. That's not hope. Like I said, that's scripture. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. I couldn't see me coming home. I wanted to come home. I wanted to get exonerated, but now I'm here, and I appreciate all of y'all, every one of y'all. I mean, I got my girlfriend, my son, and my family, but I appreciate all of y'all for taking the time out, to come, because this is faith. This is faith. This is faith. That's faith. That's faith. You know what I'm saying? People hope for everything. We hope. But if you don't have that faith and you don't believe, it's like the greatest power that we was ever given was willpower. And God gave us willpower. You know what I mean? So when I say that, that's the greatest gift ever given to us. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that my willpower brought Dr. Jenkins to me. My willpower brought Preach to my room. My willpower brought me to the service where Marcus was at. And now my willpower brought me amongst, all these amazing individuals. You understand what I'm saying? So, anybody else got something to say about it? Because I'm long-winded. I'll keep going.
Can one of the students answer the question?
Oh, that's just see how she went and did my...
I feel like one of the most striking things about this class in general, so most of the class is structured in a way that every week we hear the stories of, we're told to ask questions, and one person kind of gives us 3 hours of them talking. They tell stories, they share experiences that they went through, they share things about their life, regrets, hopes, etc. And one of the through threads of everything that I experienced as someone who did not know someone on the inside before this experience is that while each one of these people, I'm looking at all of you in the eye, each one of these people has seen the worst of humanity. You have seen the bottom of you've seen the worst things. Some of these stories were truly horrifying. Cheese sandwiches, toilet paper, horrifying. And yet, for each of the bad things that each of them said, there was this resilience of hope, as you said. There was this defiance that no matter what, each of these people would find the joy and the hope and the desire to live one more day, to find that joy. And I just think that if people I don't know, it was the most profound experience to just experience that kind of willpower. Yeah, sorry, I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, that was truly amazing.
Okay, hi. I'm Vernal's aunt, and I had wrote a little poem, but after listening to all of this stuff, I didn't want to read it because it's corny now. All of you were strong, but my sister is still going to make me. But Vernal, I didn't want to, but your mother gonna make me because it's corny. But actually it's to you, Professor Jenkins. Okay, it's corny now, so y'all don't say nothing. When y'all say something, say it in your car when you go home. Okay, don't say nothing until you leave. Okay. Professor Jenkins, there's something I want you to know. We might be a strong family, but our feelings we don't always show. When we received the news that Verno had to go away, we all got very mad. When we found out how long he had to be away, we all got very sad. The day he went away was all so unreal, but our family let him know that we would love him still. Although his actions we didn't condone, we still had to reassure him he would never be alone. We wrote him, we visited him, but one thing he didn't know, our hearts would always break when it was time for us to go. At first, when he heard about your program, it really didn't interest him, but the more he talked about it, others decided to join in. He talked about your program and it sounded really exciting. It sparked something in me and made me start back writing. At the programs I attend, told about life situations and spoke it out loud. Students told about life situations and spoke it out loud. How they all face their demons should make any parent proud. To see Vernell work performed by the students was a real treasure. The memories of their performance in our hearts we will treasure. An assignment was given them where they had to compare their lives to Dante Inferno. Some things that Verno expressed in his writings were things we didn't know. Some words were brutal but honest, but it was how he really felt. To hear what he and others went through just made your heart melt. Their writings, I'm almost done. Their writings made you not ashamed of what you went through in your life. It showed you can be happy, try to make it better, and not live them in strife. So Professor Jenkins, I wrote this poem, and it was dedicated to you, to let you know you not only helped Verno, but you helped our family too. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, wow, that was fire. That was fire. That was so great. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's my new favorite poem. That's my new favorite poem. Thank you. Any other poetry? And maybe next time you can come on the stage and do that for us. I think we would have time maybe for one more comment or question because it's getting late. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a question back there? We can have two. Okay. No, for Ephraim, go ahead, and then she'll let her. But Ephraim, and then you're going to be our last speaker. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Apparently, there is a lot of intimacy here. So I would like to ask you a question for all of you who have taught us many important questions tonight. Did you have any kind of opposition by your colleagues in the prison? Did they accuse you that you are, let's say, crazy people? Why do you have this faith? Have you ever felt frustrated by your colleagues? So what's really the reaction inside the prison toward you as people who are seeking for their faith and hope?
Faith isn't faith unless it looks foolish, though. So that's what I learned right away, that faith never makes sense, right? To believe in the Bible, how it begins this, in Genesis 1, that God spoke the world into existence. It takes a foolish person to believe that. But I'll be the chief fool when it comes to God. So I didn't care about what anybody said because I knew what they would see, right? God promised me that he would deliver me and my brothers. And look at me with two of my brothers right here. So they did say things, but we said something to the one that could do something. And because of that, we are here. So if they called us foolish, they might want to get foolish so they can get free. So
Thank you. You all have inspired me greatly. And I was thinking earlier today, as I was in my dorm room apartment, where I might share this poem. And I wonder if this is the time. But I'm going to go ahead and share it. It's Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. Thank you all. Thank you all. I see beautiful and brilliant. I see beautiful and brilliant. Yeah. But Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head, lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cries? Does my sassiness offend you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs, just like moons and like suns with certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, because I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. On the corner, I bear in the tide. In the sail, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. Bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. Malcolm, bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. Harriet, bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. Sojourner, bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. I am the dream. We are the dream, sitting here together in the hope of the slave. I rise. Together we rise.
So that's a tough act to follow. I think we'll end with the words of Maya Angelou, spoken so beautifully by our guest. And thank you all for being here. Thank you all. I forgot to thank earlier our wonderful sound technicians, Naomi and Tyler. Stand up. Wouldn't have happened without them either. So it's great to have you all here. And we look forward to seeing you again in March when Naomi and BL will be back.